Okay, families, and actually types a little bit as well. When you create a wall, remember that you're given so many options as into how and what to create. No, you can expand this, and you get by default, unless you have created before some other types, the ones we're seeing in the screen. So you can select any of them and keep on creating different kinds of walls, escape 2 times, as you want. Interior walls, generic as in concrete, etc., etc. Now, what if you want to create your own type? Meaning one, instead of, for example, a generic concrete wall of 8 inches, what if I want a basic wall generic 7 inches or 9 inches? Can I do that? Well, yes. Obviously, Revit allows us to do that. So we do wall, and we always start from duplicating one and then change it so we can use it. You normally use the one that is closest to it, for example, the generic wall 8, and you press on the edit type. When you're in the edit type, you will see also here the same list that you get from the properties panel. You first always have to duplicate, because if I change here the data or the parameters within this one, I'm changing the generic 8. Okay, so duplicate, call it however you want. Let's call it like 9 inches, and then you need to change the parameters within this duplicated type. For walls, you normally go to edit, and we will explain this in detail in another class. But basically here it tells you all the layers that a wall has, including whether they're structural, whether they're made of what material. You can click on that little symbol. It takes a little while, and you can tell it to be concrete, aluminum, or whatever. I'm going to leave it. And you can tell it the thickness. So in this case, we're searching for a 9-inch wall, and you can say OK. You see how it changes there? If you want to change the parameter here and you cannot, don't try harder. It's not there. It's somewhere else. It's under the edit button, and here you organize all your layers for your walls, the same for your floors and the same for your roofs, etc. Okay? So you change it there, you will see it there, and then you say OK. Now, the moment you duplicate and you create the type that you want, it's over here under the list of types. No? So now if I click there and to see the difference, this is a 9-inch and that's an 8-inch. You don't see much the difference, but it is. Okay? What if I wanted a wall with many layers? Well, what I will do is obviously create a wall. Start with one that has similar amount of layers that I need. Let's say an exterior brick on CMU. And edit type. Here the same way you can go to edit, and you see how much more complex it is, this wall. You can click on the number. In theory it should be blued out. You go to section. There it is. You see, you can click on the little number for the layer, and you will see in blue highlighted the layer you're selecting. You can delete any layer, you can add any layer, you can change the thickness of the layers, etc., etc. Okay. Now, before changing anything from any of the types that are given by default, it is fundamental that you duplicate. If you don't duplicate, you're changing a default wall. Remember that. So you always duplicate, you call it CMU, and you change like whatever, 9 inches, or you give your name Severino, or you just make sure this is the wall you're changing, okay? And then you go to edit and change whatever you want. Let's say finished floor brick, and that brick is whatever, 8 inches to exaggerate. Say OK. Here it is, 9 inches Severino, and now you can create that wall. Now remember that the walls, like many other elements within Revit, you can see them in different ways by clicking on the detail level of resolution. You can go to Find, and you see here the different layers that we have created. You can obviously select the wall, see that you have your wall there, and keep on editing the type as it is created. If I change here this wall, and imagine I had here several of them, imagine this is a complex building. If I change the edit type of this one, which is the one I just created before, and I change the type, this one, and this one, and this one, which are corresponding with the same type, will be changed. Does that make sense? So we're talking of any wall that corresponds with this type. If we change the type, it changes all the walls included, okay? Let's say, for example, to exaggerate, that the bricks is 20. There you go. This 4 changed, not that one, because this is a totally different type. Now, any of these 4 correspond with the type I created newly, no? That goes for types. Types is the same if I create a floor, for example. If I go to and create a floor, you can have all these options. Imagine you need a generic 13. What you would go is probably starting 12, edit type, duplicate, call it 13 or 15 to exaggerate, and then edit and change that to your 15. That would be the only way to get a new type of floor that you can use. Okay, just gonna stop that one. So that goes with floors, that goes with walls, roofs, etc. Okay, goes with windows, doors, and so and so. So I'm gonna stop it there.